Call the meeting to order. President is not here. His wife had some surgery this week, so Vice President has to go through it. Call for adoption of the minutes, November 7th.
So moved.
A second. Any other discussion?
None.
Need to vote?
Mr. Sparkman?
Yes.
Mr. Mutual?
Yes.
Move on to payment of bills. $19,589. The general is $205.84. Fire is $87.47. Cemetery is $300. EMS billing $71.44. Road and bridge $91.36.
So moved.
A second. Any other discussion about payment of bills?
Have no vote?
Proceed to vote, please.
Mr. Sparkman?
Yes.
Mr. Mutual?
Yes.
And we have some correspondence from the MVRPC 2040 Long Range Transportation Plan. Sunrise Cooperative Propane Safety Information. Old Mill News Magazine. Retirement ballot for the Board of Election, Leisure Lawn Annual Agreement, materials for Regional Planning and Coordinating Commission, November 15 meeting. Spoon receipt. Council Land Trust newsletter, Board of Zoning Appeals, public hearing, which is, I believe, November 30th. Fund status.
I have two additional I'll bring up as we go along.
Okay. We have a guest here this evening, so if you would like to do whatever
Thank
want to do, and you won't have to wait through the whole meeting unless you want to.
Sometimes they get interesting.
Well,
Well, for the record, I'm
We
Marty
hope-
Heidi.
we hope this one does.
I hope so too. And I'm Green and Fayette County Outreach for Congressman Mike Turner.
Is that all right?
And I am.
Oh, that?
I think you've probably heard me say that before.
We have, I think.
But I'm here tonight. What I do is kind of get some information out to everyone, sort of some updates about what's going on in Washington DC and just local. I try to bring
Remember, we're
it.
on camera, so
Yes, no,
you
I
can
know.
Washington DC comments.
Yes, no, I know.
I got it out.
I stay away from those.
Okay.
But the two things I wanted to talk about tonight, I kind of just bring it down kind of locally, is last time I was here, I talked about passports and about how you need a passport to go to Mexico and Canada now, and that law has been in effect for 10 years. And passports are good for 10 years, so now the passport agency is catching up on renewals and all that. They were like 7 or 8 million passports issued or processed as of August 1st. So they're kind of in that flurry. So my word is that if you need it quickly, which a lot of times we get people that need it fast, Congressman Turner's office can get it in about a week to 10 days. And if you need it by Friday, I would recommend that you let us make an appointment for you up in Detroit, which is the closest passport office that issues them right on the spot. You just go in and they'll issue your passport right on the spot. And we can make the appointment. I usually tell people to go the night before because you never know what traffic is going to be, and they stop at 2:30 in the afternoon. So it's a 4-hour trip up, so it's just easier. It's the same process as a regular passport. You take your application and photo, proof of citizenship, and a photo ID. The other thing, as of November 1st, glasses are to be taken off now for passport photos. And I wear glasses, so they just don't want photos. And I think CVS and Walgreens and wherever you go to get passport pictures taken know this, but if they don't, and if you wear glasses as a rule all the time, they should ask you, but you should remember to take them off. So that's kind of the message that is going around now. the other thing, and ironically enough, Saturday night driving on 35 towards Dayton from an event in Beaver Creek, I saw a sign that talk about and become aware of the heroin epidemic. And I know you all have been to meetings that have talked about it, and Congressman Turner has hosted a couple meetings in Dayton, one with Congressman Sensenbrenner from Wisconsin, and the other with Senator Portman, both authors of the CARE Act that was signed into law in July by the President. And this is funding for treatment facilities, rehab, detox, and all that. Plus, it's trying to deal with the whole problem of the heroin epidemic, focusing on education. And so the community in Greene County is doing an excellent job at addressing, educating, holding monthly meetings with their drug task force group, but setting up sort of inform people. And the pixel sign over 35 was kind of ironic, because that's the message that we're trying to get out, is talk about it. Out in the community, did you know, have you heard, know the signs, and know that, that this is not a recreational drug like marijuana. It's once you try it, you're basically on board. And it's very difficult to get off. I attend meetings all month long, well, all summer long basically, in Fayette and Greene County, and the stories of rehab people that have gone through rehab and are off of heroin 10 years later are still off of it, but it's still a struggle. So I mean, it is a very serious problem. And so this is legislation that's out there. Congressman Turner toured the detention center at the Greene County Jail, and he did it for a reason, because it was pointed out to him that once you're incarcerated, you don't get, your Medicaid stops. And so the county and the sheriffs were having to provide medications to treatment programs while they were incarcerated. So Congressman Turner introduced the TREAT Act, which is an extension or amendment to the Social Security Act to provide continuing medication coverage for that. That way it won't cost the county any extra funds. Won't cost taxpayers any more anyway, because they still get the Medicaid.
Was that passed, or is that in?
That's in the House right now. He introduced it, and he's got a good ball behind it, so he's just got to, we don't know what's going to happen with the new administration. But yes, and also the CRIB Act to help heroin babies who are born addicted, which is beyond my comprehensive.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. So the bottom line is just talk about it. Get out there and make sure kids know about it. And some of the interesting things that people I've heard don't wake up in the morning and say, oh, I think I'll go do heroin. It starts out as marijuana and cigarettes, marijuana, and it goes up from there. Painkillers are so cost prohibitive, heroin is cheap. And that's why people are overdosing. And Dayton is the #1 in the nation for deaths related to heroin overdose. Dayton, Ohio.
Well, we encourage all our employees to stay away from it as best they can.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Do you know offhand whether heroin deaths, like in Ohio, are they increasing at the same rate that they historically have, or has it started to taper off? I mean, are we seeing any benefit of any of the increased attention it's received?
I don't think we have yet. Cincinnati peaked in like August and September, competing with Dayton. I don't know if you saw in the news, Cincinnati was just going crazy.
Yeah.
But I think that what's happening is in Montgomery County, which is next door, the sheriff there has gotten to the point where instead of arresting them and finding the needle and not being able to arrest them, they see the needle and they say, okay, and then they take them to the hospital, and they turn around and 4 hours later they're out of the hospital back on the street.
Yeah.
So they're doing this. It's a kind of open door policy where they take them to a treatment center right away. And that way they can try to detox them. And jails, of course, is a good place for that, but A lot of jails don't have the capabilities of doing that. So I think that with all of the extra expenditures and information that is passing through, it's just the opinion that this will reduce the awareness, this will reduce the usage and overdosing. That's what the hope is. Ohio is struck pretty hard though.
Any attention from either the legislature, to your knowledge of specifically Mike or Portman or any of these people, on addressing the, you know, the initial cause, I mean, the overprescription of the OxyContin and those sorts of drugs, but then those being cut off and then kind of pushing people, I mean, people by their own internal necessity going to the heroin.
Right, there is, and some of this legislation is geared towards that. Some of it is, you know, they shut down the pill mills a few years ago. And so I think that, to your point, I think that drove some people to the heroin because they couldn't get the pills. But there is some legislation, and I don't know specifically what it is, but there is some legislation that has doctors reporting and limiting the amount of what they can prescribe instead of giving 30 days. In my personal experience, I had surgery and I got a 30-day prescription for oxycodone.
Right.
And I'm like,
yeah.
So 2 days later, I'm like, okay, that's enough. And, you know, that was it.
But the people that need it.
But the people that need it still need it.
But then when they get cut off, I mean, is there anything that's, I mean, to allow them to continue on it, or before they go into the heroin to identify it and then start treatment, or any of those sorts of things?
Yeah, I don't know specifically, Chris, but I can tell you that in 2012, it was bumped up to 2015. They started doing this sort of universal database so that doctors, if you were somewhere in the country and they could access your medical record, they tried to get electronic medical records that could be transferred. And I think that will facilitate it'll eliminate or slow down the over-prescribing, but it'll also give patients maybe the ability to have access to the continued medication. But I don't know specifically the answer to that. Definitely a concern.
Is this the reason it is? Is this the reason it is spiked, because of these pills that can't get pain pills?
Well, the pain pills are too expensive, number one, and heroin, which is produced in Central America and the Middle East, comes into the country. I don't know how, but it does, and it's cheap. I mean, it's very cheap, and you know, if you can afford that a lot, and the pain pills are almost, you know,
But it's cheap.
60
In
or
the long
70
run, it's pretty
apiece.
expensive, but people don't get that.
And addicting.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Yeah, thank you.
What else you got?
That's it. That's it.
All this way for that?
Just for
I would have
that.
thought there'd been a regular song and dance going on, Mark.
Well, I do tap, but
Okay. We like a good tap. Come to the Christmas party.
I am definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see some tapping.
Okay, I'll bring my
We'll put you
shoes.
on. 13th, that's right.
Yes.
December 13th. We'll be there.
Good.
All right, well, thank you for coming.
Well, thank you very much.
Lauren, you have any other questions for Marty?
No, thank you for
No.
coming.
You want to write down my number, 937-225-2843. I say 24/7 we're available, because if the office is closed, leave a voicemail, but anything you need, give us a call.
Well, thank you very much.
We're there. We do passports, immigration, IRS, Social Security, veterans, all sorts of federal agency issues.
Good, it's nice to know you're around.
We are.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Take
you.
care. Have a good night. Thanks, Margaret.
I guess she didn't want to stay.
Shocking.
No, she misses.
Oh, Christmas party.
Does that make you
Your
feel
house?
bad, because you're next?
No,
go with
township,
Harold.
the County Township Association at Country Club of the North on the 13th.
reserved for that.
You say you did?
Mhm.
Good.
guys can have a whole stretch of holiday parties.
That's what I'm working on.
Okay, fire department.
All right, I'm on. Since our last meeting, we've had 29 EMS calls, 13 fire calls, and have performed 8 fire safety inspections. You have a resolution in there for the appointment of a new volunteer, Justin Petit. He lives in Bath Township. He is a certified firefighter already, which is nice. And Bob liked him, so you know, we had to hire him. They seem like a good kid, and is very eager to serve.
Not EMT trained.
No, not yet. The resolution's in there, I don't know what the number is.
22.
22.
Wait a minute. Yeah, 22.
22.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we'll have to create a new one so that the vice president can sign it.
Oh, okay.
Resolution 2016-22 for
Mhm.
appointment of volunteer personnel. Chief Altman has recommended the appointment of this candidate. They shall be appointed to a volunteer position within the fire department rescue effective November 21. Do I hear a motion to adopt this resolution?
So moved.
A second. Any other discussion?
Has he been in any other department? He's got a level 2 certification.
No.
Certification.
We will be his first. He recently obtained his level 2 from Sinclair.
Just interested.
He's always wanted to do it. So we'll go get him.
How old is it?
I'm not sure, 20 something.
Just the right age.
As I said, Bob seemed happy, so.
2 times.
2 thumbs up from President Cooper, so.
And I have no further questions.
Need a vote?
Mr. Meacher?
Yes.
Mr. Speckman?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
All right, just some fire station stuff. The architects are gonna be working on a formal footprint of the station, so we know what the square footage will be based on all the stuff we've talked about over the last 6 years. So they can give us an actual estimate, so we can give them the auditor with an actual, you know, a good price. So I'll start that next week. We've got a conference call with Nestor tomorrow. And then,
Will we be having a meeting with them?
I believe that's that's what I'm gonna try and find out all the next steps from them, but that I do believe is the.
Will this building be custom built, or will it be like something someplace else that we can go look at, see what it's gonna look like before they build it? Is there another one like this someplace in the world?
What there could be. I mean, everything they build is semi-unique, but, I mean, as they've all pointed out to me, a fire station is 2 boxes put together. A big one for your trucks and a smaller one for your people. And then what you do to it is how you customize it. He's given me, and I'll forward the email to you guys, 2 different design ideas that they did for Miami Township in Claremont County. One very ranch home looking, brick ranch home. One a little bit more modern, which seemed to be a more favorite of some of the guys we went through on Saturday and had a little meeting with department members. But just as ideas, because again, they can't really do any design at this phase because they're not contracted for that. So initially what Nestor told me that the rest of their contract, I think we had about $10,000 left after 5 years. We'll be coming up with this actual square footage, doing some conceptual drawings that we can use for marketing, assisting us with that process to the public, and giving us advice. And there's really not a whole lot they can do at this point until, 1, we have money, and 2, they have a contract to actually do the design work.
Right.
So this will all be preliminary, but at least we can get an idea of what it could look like. I guess actually what it will look. I mean, you know, they won't give an exact drawing or floor plan because we don't have the money for that at that point, at this point. But
If you have options to look at, even if it's pictures,
yeah,
and then if you go to somebody that has built this, same size, basically.
Yeah, I'll talk to them. I mean, Fairborn, they designed both of Fairborn's new firehouses, plus did the what am I trying to say? Reconstruction of the two ones they kept, and they just built one for Vandalia. So those are, I think, our two closest that are.
To go to those and ask them what they would like to have done different if they had, then we could consider that, not make the same mistake somebody else made.
Yeah, and we did a lot of that with, I mean, in the initial phases with Fairborn, because their stations were already open, and Fanning had extensive discussions with the chief at that time, and we followed up with Chief Riley since he's still on, and learned some of their mistakes, but overall they were very happy with both their contractor and their architect, because they felt they listened to what they wanted, and they ended up with stations that reflect, both reflect their current need, but also what they think the future will hold for Fairborn. So if you drive by them, they're bigger than they're filled right now, but their idea is that as the city grows and they put more people on, the station doesn't have to be really, you have to dump a ton of money into it to expand it or something like that. So, but if you're interested, I'll talk to Nestor and see, and we can, if you guys want to go, we can get you into Vandalia or Fairborn, take a look around.
Whenever, a bit soon for that maybe.
If you haven't contacted them yet, I'm going to encourage you again to get in touch with this chief from Miami Township.
We've been emailing back and forth.
Uh-huh.
And I'm trying to get time to get a call with him, so I can get some advice from him on a couple of things, some of the things we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
See what process, since they're a township, what process they've went through and everything, particularly with the architect.
You have any idea what size building that they put up for them?
Theirs is, I believe, smaller than what we're looking at, because theirs was more of a substation. There's only 3 bays. And the pictures he sent looks like it's smaller than what we would be going for. They didn't have there was a township office in there and that. The only other one they've done recently that I know of off the top of my head, which was also in Claremont County, was Little Miami Fire District, which I'm not sure where that is in the metro Cincinnati area, but that one included, I think, a community center or something, and was probably closer to the size of, probably if not bigger than what we're looking at, so. But yeah, as soon as I get with him, I'll hopefully have a big discussion, and we can hopefully get some answers to some of the things we've been wondering about, so. I also have their, so according to the Board of Elections, on a very odd phone call, to get on the May 2nd ballot, we'll need to have paperwork filed by March 3rd, or 90 days prior. That's actually going to be 2 days, but because of the weekend, I guess. Their computers were down, so they, I can't tell you what the date is, but I can tell you it's 90 days ahead, so you'll have to do the math yourself. So you just may want to check my math, but, and then attached with your memos and with you as well are there's a checklist to make sure we have everything we need, and then a resolution of necessity and a resolution to proceed of the taxing authority, which I don't believe obviously we don't need to do tonight because we don't know how much money we need, but these would have to be passed by the board and submitted. It's got to go to the auditor's office for certification. But
those are the same documents we had to produce in order to get the levy.
right, yes, it's a standard issue stuff, is what they said. The woman I spoke with said that she recommended either the auditor's office or the Township Association for ballot language. Like the specifics of the ballot language. For, I guess this would be an additional, I don't know how, if it's an additional levy or a new levy, I guess it's just a new levy. Because it's going to be specific for one purpose, not the general fund, funding of the fire department, it's for construction, so, well, I guess it's construction paying back of the bonds or how that's going to work. So.
Interesting.
90 days. 90 days backwards from March, what you said?
From May 2nd.
That'd be February,
Yeah, that's the end of January.
first February,
See, that's why I said you guys should check on that.
There's 28 days in February.
right?
Oh, I screwed that one up.
So
Well,
you better plan on the end of January. That's not very far away.
just rolling around.
Interesting that they didn't
Thank you.
recommend, the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, she didn't mention it to me, but that would make sense. As well, I'm not sure who, it was, I didn't talk to the boss, because she was not available.
I have to look back on my,
Some office lackey.
I've got files on those resolutions, I mean, I've got the resolutions, so, see, I can see where we got that
Okay.
information from. Check that out.
And it might be just something we take a standard levy language, send it into Stephanie and we're adapt it or whatever.
Yeah, it couldn't have been all that custom, because, I got it from somewhere.
Yeah.
And just basically filled in the blanks, as I recall.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently we're supposed to also put in the,
What year we do that? You know, right off the
Last
top of your
levy?
head?
I can't remember, but hopefully we get the paper something. Because now I suddenly have this nightmare that like our regular levy's gonna be expiring at the same
Wow.
time as.
Yeah, it hasn't been 5 years.
Okay, good.
I know it hasn't been 5 years.
2012,
Was it 2012?
was it?
You were, any recollection of when our last levy went on?
If that's the case,
3 years ago. 13.
yeah,
Yeah, we're
no,
close.
5 years,
Oi,
17.
oi.
Well, let's check on that.
Alright. That one I know the auditor's office can tell us.
Yeah.
That one I got the answer for. So that's the update on what I found out so far, so. I'll obviously keep you guys posted. We recently had the honor of a surprise inspection from the Board of Pharmacy. It was our first inspection since 2002, there will be time. And they regulate our use of and storage of the drugs that we carry. So we were found to be deficient in 3 areas, which are all relatively easy areas for us to comply with. So we've got till December 10th, I think, to send back our letter saying what we're doing to comply.
Are those broken down major deficiencies, minor deficiencies, or just deficiencies?
Just deficiencies. I mean, there are certain deficiencies that they'd shut you down for, security type things.
Okay.
Ours were not. I mean, the inspector was very nice.
Were the people here?
We were out on a call. Unfortunately, someone happened to come wandering in and find this guy. It's kind of funny. We came back from the call and Bob was showing some guy around. I figured I was just a friend of Bob's. He's like, "Oh, Colin, come here." I'm like, "Oh, what? I don't want to meet this guy." And, I guess I didn't want to meet the guy, but there were a couple things, minor security issues. One of the ambulances, the new ambulance actually, for some bizarre reason, we can't figure out how we overlooked this in the spec. The older ambulance has little tabs on the compartment that we keep the IV fluids in, and then you can put a little like plastic seal on it as a security thing. The new one doesn't. So those dangerous drugs that are IV fluids, i.e. salt water,
Yeah.
aren't sealed. So I called Braun, asked them to sell us and send us these little tabs that we can screw onto the compartment and then seal it. We carry a drug box on the rescue truck in case both medics are out. They can go and start treatment. We have to keep that secure, locked, as easy as padlocks. I think it's just to install a padlock on there. And then our oxygen filling system, there's a new requirement. I think it's a new requirement because they've been hitting all these departments about it, where we have to have a log sheet and track the lot numbers of the big cylinders that we fill the little ones with. In case there's, in case Weiler were to call up and say, "Oh crap, those last 2 oxygen cylinders we gave you were filled with carbon monoxide."
Yeah, right.
Which has never happened,
Actually,
but
hydrogen, right?
yeah, exactly. Would be bad. So I mean, that one makes sense.
Yeah.
Springfield Fire was hit with that sometime middle of this year, and their EMS chief put together a whole log sheet, which he shared with everyone. So now he's got his hands on it and is gonna, change the name on it to ours, and we'll start doing that. And then the last one, we've got to figure out. I mean, it's a problem everyone in the state pretty much has because the Board of Pharmacy is still in the dark ages. With our current safety pad software, when we go to the hospital, we don't generate any paper because that was the whole point. When we drop a patient off, the patient signs the report on the tablet, whoever wrote the report signs it, and then the receiving nurse or physician signs it. The pharmacy regulations state that that's not good enough. The electronic signature is not good enough. You actually have to have what they call a wet signature on paper.
Really?
which was my, really? And then we have to save that paper copy here for 5 to 7 years. In terms of HIPAA compliance, the way we do it now makes the most sense, because nothing's on site, it's all in, the mysterious cloud. And someone else's responsibility, which is the nice part.
Right.
So what they're telling us is anytime we administer a drug out of the drug box, which is relatively frequent, it includes aspirin, then we're gonna have to print a copy of this report out, have someone sign it, and then keep it filed here, so. Yeah, they do have a provision for a safe and secure signature or something like that for electronic software. Danny's gonna call Safety Pad and see if they're aware of it. Apparently, only out of the hundreds of vendors, there's only 2 that comply with the online Board of Pharmacy thing. It would require a second layer of security on our tablet. Right now, everyone has a login and a password. It would require something additional, like a biometric thumb scan, or card activation, or something like that. The problem is most tablets don't have scanners, because it's a tablet. So, we will comply with that as we're able to, but,
Every other department in the United States has a paper trail for that?
no, and that's the thing that we're finding odd. I asked the guy, what do you do? I mean, Cincinnati and Columbus use the exact same software we do. One of the guys knows someone who's a paramedic in Columbus, he says they don't print things. So maybe they haven't been inspected yet. But it's something that the Ohio Fire Chiefs and our regional EMS council are trying to get addressed from the pharmacy board. And the problem with the pharmacy board is that you can't get any kind of straight answer out of them. So we have, our department has one opinion that inspector gave us, whereas Enon got something different. So our regional EMS council is trying to pin them down on what exactly they want so that we can address it. Because frankly, the other things, they all make sense to me. This electronic printing of report, I told the guy, in 10 years, no one's gonna be doing paper reports, if that.
Right.
It's somewhat bizarre that you can go to a bank and a loan for $300,000 and use your finger to sign an electronic pad, never do a piece of paper, but that's not good enough for the pharmacy board. So they are notoriously uptight with the pharmacy board, and I certainly understand. There are problems, and you do need to control that, but I don't necessarily see this as an area of
Do
concern.
you have a timetable for compliance on this?
We have to have our response to them by the 10th of December, just laying out what our compliance plan is. So everything else will be in place by then. So we have to figure out.
So you can say something as broad as, we're researching methods of.
That's what it seemed like in his compliance order. It wasn't, when he told me this, I thought, oh God, this is terrible. But when I read it, because the funny thing is, the guy tells me, oh, I'm gonna email you the report because we don't do anything on paper anymore, everything's electronic. I'm like, do you not see the idiocy of this? But, and actually he seemed to agree. He did realize it seemed silly, but, it is what it is. He told me pharmacists, for instance, like at Town Drug, they have a electronic log sheet every time they dispense medication. But then, to sign it, they have to sign it on a piece of paper.
All right.
It just seems like something that hasn't kept up with modern technology. Because it's in the ORC, no one ever wants to change, because you've got an active, not Congress, but active legislature to change, so. So we'll see. But everything else we'll have complied with by that date. We have to send our response in, and we'll come up with a nice way to put that we're.
Does Dr. Bailey have to sign off on this?
Dr. Bailey just has to sign off on our drug license every year. So that's usually in February or March. We have to get a new license every year. Danny handles that, and then it comes in, we take it to Dr. Bailey's office, she signs off on it. We talked about it at the county EMS meeting. I went for Danny because he was out with kidney stones, and I think we're the first department in Green County to have been inspected recently and get this, so. She seemed to think it was a stupid idea as well, but there's not a whole lot we can do because the pharmacy board is the pharmacy board, so hopefully, between our the regional EMS council and the Ohio Fire Chiefs Association, we can hopefully get someone's ear and get them to realize that, again, it's the 21st century. It's a little ridiculous, so. And then last but not least, you got the invites. The holiday party's coming up on the 10th at Mills Park Hotel. So we're excited to try out the new kid in town and have the party back in town, which is nice because everyone can attend, including the duty crew. So that'll be nice. And I went to a wedding there, and the food was fantastic. So I have no reason to think it won't be for us as well.
Is it competitive with,
Very.
yeah?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I was surprised. They're within a few dollars of
Yeah.
each other,
Super.
which is nice.
Yeah.
And actually, their drink costs for those who do that are cheaper than Hilton Garden. So it should be nice.
You didn't have a hard time getting a date, huh?
No, it's part of.
I would have thought the first year.
Yeah, they're busy, but Tess, that was part of her co-op. That's her co-op project to set up our holiday party. So we're so proud of her. So yeah, she just went in and came back with a couple dates, and we selected something, and it all seemed to work.
Good.
Yeah. Yeah, I was worried about that too. That it was going to be, well, we can do it in October, you know. But no, they had a bunch of dates still in December. So, when it was 4 months ago.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Anything else for the chief?
One last thing, and I guess I should have just put this in real quick when we were talking about the station, but I did receive an email correspondence just this Saturday, actually, from Greg Sample, who does the Wright State stuff for us, and the person that we sent, as you recall, last meeting, we signed the agreement on our end, the 2 copies of it. I sent those 2 copies over to him, and he got back with me saying that they received the signed copies on the 10th. It was executed on our side. I'm not sure if that means that the President of the Board of Trustees, somebody signed it for Wright State, and on November 14th, and that's the date that they're using as what's called the effective date.
Okay.
There are other dates that get triggered, you know, if nobody does anything between now and then, you know, somebody gets mad and the rest of that. But he says he's copying Larry Chen, who's the WSU, the new general counsel, on board about the communication, and provide a point of contact, which I did, Stephanie Hayden, representing the township in the matter, and our office of general counsel will work with them, get the sale completed, blah, 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 blah. So, you know, from this point on now, it's you know, title searches and deed
Yeah.
preparation and sign off this and that, and then eventually we'll go to a closing and trade a check for a deed, and then it'll be done. So I
I
have
didn't have
no
it
idea
there.
how long that'll take.
Didn't start with, hey Chris, sorry, I just got back from Kathmandu, or.
No, but he's traveling. He says. That's fine. You know, we gotta do what they gotta do. But so you know, it's getting there. You know, I mean, we'll certainly have it long before we actually need it. But you know, it'll be nice when the actual deed is in the safe, as they say. You know?
Yeah. Well, good.
And that's the only correspondence for that I had to do with it. So.
Move on to road report. Road report?
Road report?
Road report.
Yep. Let's see. Lindsay's thing was the second laid on your desk,
Mhm.
or on your table there.
Yeah.
Did you let them know?
Yeah.
Let's see. Put the spreader on today.
They did.
And the plow, made sure everything worked. Took the plow off. Tuesday the 29th, I had to take mother for a surgical procedure.
Okay.
So I don't know how long it'll take, just before noon we're done, I'll be in, otherwise I might not be here.
All right. If it snows a lot, give me a call. Yeah.
The 29th, you said?
29th,
Knock the rust
Tuesday,
off my-
Next Tuesday,
Knock the rust off my plowing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
I
the
hear you.
grass.
I hear you.
Don't forget Black Friday.
It'll be clear. Don't worry.
I really don't have much, I'd like to try to finish up trimming, but I don't know if it'll be done this week. We have other things to do.
What other things?
I get to play with my new toy tomorrow.
Is that right?
That's right. Try it out.
Mm-hmm. Where?
Then look for a new edition
Mm-hmm.
for a Wednesday barrel.
Okay.
So came in today. Try out my new machine. See how it works.
Probably won't be too tight in the new edition.
No, but I'm gonna use it because we have it for it, I need to try it.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Fixed your little present you left me on the bench today.
I was wondering whether you could. 'cause-
I did, I put it back together, but I also got you another one just because I don't think it's gonna hold.
Yeah.
It's cast iron.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it back on, and I thought, the first time Roger runs over that little brakes, I saw the meter guy, and I stopped and said, hey, any chance? And he said, sure. But he wouldn't give me a tool for it. He'd give me the lid, but he wouldn't give me the tool.
I was afraid they didn't have them. I thought they weren't
He
putting
had a
those.
bunch of them in the back of his van. He
Is that
never
right?
got one, he tried it, and it wouldn't, he go, here, take this one.
Yeah.
Okay, that was simple.
I did, obviously, because I was off, and I did drain those lines, I shut the water off, and so we're good to go there.
That leak it wasn't leaking this year. I don't know where it was coming from.
Don't-
Maybe
don't
it
ask
sealed
the
itself,
questions.
so I'm not gonna ask.
That reminds me, there's an awful lot of leaves next to that shed.
They're gonna be over the fence
Where did they come from?
from our lower part. I know, there still looks like he hasn't been in there, doesn't
No, those have gotta come from every other property he,
he? He picked them up, I know,
Maintains.
but everything wasn't down yet, so he ran in and picked them up. He'll be back to pick up more, I believe.
I hope.
Yeah. I'll put them over the fence and then take them. He always does. People stop and get them, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's what's there when
Well, I looked at Chris's pile on the other side of the fence, it looks like he's still got a pretty good pile over there.
No, Jimmy Neal's,
Yeah.
yeah, he'll take them. I'll get them over there.
All right.
Only reason I haven't moved them, I was kinda waiting for Roger to get the rest of them picked up, but I could move those and move the rest when he picks them up. I thought he'd been in there.
Don't use the excavator, it'll take you all week.
Oh, no, no, use the Bobcat.
Where's the crack pillar?
In the, salt bin next to the truck.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I guess it didn't look out back, I just figured.
Well,
it's-
that's where I put it,
Yeah.
it came back because I
Yeah,
need to rearrange and in there, we're going to, the forklift's going next door, so we're getting it.
going next door.
It belongs to them, so.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I saw
I mean, they
Mark,
want it, or you trying to?
I saw Mark and I said, hey, I gotta do something I have to park, so he's like, just put it over here. They're gonna get rid of it,
Could you get it started? Or-
probably, and I'm not gonna mess with it,
Yeah.
put a chain on it.
You know, you were asking, what, a couple meetings ago, or some meeting ago, about paying for the new road up in Clifton. And we might consider at some time selling that crack filler. You know, although we didn't have very good luck at Ansel's place, would that be something that they'd sell?
Yeah, we'd sell it, whether we would hit close
Well,
to
we
what-
definitely wouldn't
No,
sell
not
it.
what you'd like to get out of it, I'm sure.
Yeah,
There was a tar kettle of some sort down there, I don't know what it went for, but it didn't go for a lot, I'm sure.
because we've got so few blacktop roads anymore, you know. We've been having-
Hide and snip, the only two really we can use it on.
We've got to
Everything
put
else-
chip seal over everything, just about.
Do more fogging, maybe that'd help too.
I like the foamy.
Did they ever come back and fought?
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, that's right, they did, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, yeah, I was thinking something else.
because they fogged William and Mary and Ferguson, which
Yeah.
we chip sealed last year, and they look great. I
Yeah.
don't think they're real nice job. Talked
So-
to the man about that tree today, and told him, cut it down. Okay.
Yeah.
We told him why.
Well, we got no
And he was
end,
okay with it, he's
we
okay.
got no end of trees like that on the road, so
Yeah.
I wish we could do something with them all, but we can't.
Right.
So anyway, it's something to think about, that machine. I mean, we haven't done anything for quite a while.
It's been, not this year, maybe 14.
Yeah.
2 years since it used it?
Since we've done anything, we had Hyde repaved, so there's nothing, there wasn't much on Hyde, there's some laterals, which we could run out here in the day, seal them up. The bath was, they had it, and what we done on Carroll Lamont, on the way bringing it back, they stopped in there and sealed up the edges on what we.
Is that right?
Yeah, so that helped.
Bath have a need for it?
They have more road that they can use it on, they usually are the ones that have it.
Maybe they'd buy it.
Well, it's been talked about.
So we're gonna sell it and give them first opportunity.
Oh, well. Yeah. Didn't like they use the one we do. Xenia would have, but see, Xenia rents one, they don't. It was good, you know, we used it when we needed it, but we chipped everything. We really don't have much to use it on. You could use it on chip seal roads, but it's a little harder to use.
And it's so labor intensive, I mean, for the amount of people we've got.
It takes people,
Yeah.
we have to ask for help, we have to get other people for traffic control and to alternate with this.
Yeah,
Your son's been out with it, he knows
Yeah.
what's involved. It's rigorous, calling.
yeah.
Website for townships, state township have a website for sale, stuff for
There
sale?
is something in there.
Should be.
It was also the magazine, you know,
Right. Put it in there and advertise it, if that's not interested.
try to get put it in that before, I mean, taking it to like an auction. So, you know, see what.
You know, if somebody's looking for something like that, we might do okay at auction, but
Yeah,
somebody just saying, oh, I can get that cheap.
yeah. Well, were they selling much equipment?
So there's some
Road
farm
kind?
equipment, not much road type equipment. County had quite a few vehicles there, that they were
Yeah.
getting rid of, and no real machinery type. Just that one tar, like an old tar kettle.
Mhm.
You know, it wasn't in bad shape, but they're kind of outdated, those tar kettles like that.
Yeah.
I don't know
Still
what
that
it
farm
is.
equipment up at Farm Science that they got in an auction. You been by any of those?
Is that what that's doing?
It's Ritchie Brothers. Ritchie Brothers.
No, I'm not rich as JD.
There's a lot of equipment lined up, and there's an international combine, a bunch lined up there at Molly County.
Yeah,
I
there's
saw it yesterday when I came
there's
back.
an auction like December 3rd or something.
A lot of tractors,
You go by there,
combines,
yeah.
a lot of nice big equipment.
Who's doing it?
Mhm.
It said JD, it said JD auction, something. I assume it's JD equipment. Because it
Quite a
looked
few.
like a lot of deer stuff.
A lot of John Deere stuff. Saw it yesterday, didn't I?
A lot of that stuff gets sold up there at Ritchie Brothers.
Yeah.
A lot
Yeah.
of farm machine, farm equipment, farm dealers, equipment dealers just take their used stuff up there. Ritchie Brothers buys it and then they resell it
You actually buy it? Is that right?
sometime. Maybe not all the time, but I know they do some of it.
It's a lot of outlay. I haven't heard back yet from the guy from the state. I'm gonna have to bug him about it, remember we talked about 343 and 370? So I haven't heard anything more about that. I'm sorry, I should have followed up on that before today. I talked to Lamar about this, and I don't think I brought it up. Correct me if I'm wrong. We've had or maybe I did. Did we talk about a no outlet sign on Cornell Circle?
There is, on the circle,
On the circle itself?
I don't think no. There's one for the lower drive, right, for
Yeah.
Glen?
A resident there was telling me that there used to be a no outlet sign that was like nailed to a tree that came down. Do you remember that?
No.
I don't have any recollection.
It's not a no outlet though.
That's the way it was told me. Anyway, but I just hadn't had any recollection of that at
Well, I mean,
all.
like Glen's no outlet, because it's dead ends, you have to turn around.
Right.
The circle, you want to turn around, you go around.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want one, we'll put one up. if you
Now,
think
hold
you-
the phone.
There's no outlet
There is an outlet.
There's outlet.
back where you came from.
Mhm.
I
You could
called-
take the outlet sign that's down there on the Glen Road and move it up.
I can't do
Why not?
that. I can't do that, that's supposed to be there.
Well, I called Luke Truby and asked him, what his opinion was of putting a no outlet sign on a circle. And the same sort of discussion, or the same sort of back and forth as we're having is, well, it kind of does have an outlet. You put no outlet signs on roads that don't go anywhere. So, but anyway, I had promised this woman that I would bring it up as the possibility of putting it on there. She's trying to reduce just general traffic on the circle, and, which I understand, but, it is a public road. I mean, you can't very well, make it like a private drive or anything. But I hadn't remembered a no outlet sign being there before, and I just wasn't sure whether that was something that was appropriate. So that was Luke's opinion. What is your opinion about putting a no outlet sign there?
There's an outlet.
Okay. What's your opinion about putting a no outlet sign there?
I don't really think we need it, but I can't imagine how much traffic there is. How do we know how much traffic there is? Unless somebody sits there and counts it.
Well, somebody sat there and counted and said there was 8 cars went by in the course of an afternoon or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Must have been on a
Yeah.
busy Saturday.
Yeah.
Well, there's and you know, I go out and mow out there, and I see a couple cars here and there. Sometimes you see 3 or 4 cars while I'm mowing, sometimes you don't see any. I don't see where it's a high traffic area at all.
But
But the people go back in there and go visit.
if you do put a no outlet sign, there'll still be almost as many
Well, they want to see why there's no
as if
outlet.
there's no sign.
New sign, well,
I realize Mark's not here, but it sounds like we have some general consensus that, you know, it just doesn't seem to be what we want to do.
I don't remember one in 20 years being there.
You know,
So. Is there a
Yes.
record? Do they record that?
I say,
Is it recorded that it was over there? 'Cause most signs are recorded, right? And like stop signs are recorded.
Stop ones are, but since it's a township road, it would be our records as opposed to, I think, I don't think, I don't know, maybe the county does back down.
people are paying taxes on the roads, they ought to be able to use
Copy
it.
either test zones for Jefferson Township, copy test zones.
Okay,
for
so we'll
Jefferson
leave it at that and I'll let them know that's the message. Okay. I think that's all I have.
I'm gonna sell a grave tomorrow. That was a lady today, she called and said she'd come back tomorrow. I said, I'll be up there.
Where?
In
Where?
New Addition.
Uh-huh.
I think on Stetson's side, I'm not sure. On the side.
Okay.
And how much are those again?
600.
600.
They were looking at the scattering area first, and they were considering it. I saw the inscription. Never placed on it.
I have to apologize, I was mistaken on that. I signed off on that there wasn't room to put 2 lines
Oh, there wasn't?
side by side, no.
So we're not doing the side by side?
No,
Okay, because I told them today that they looked at it, and I said, well, I think this one was,
no,
think they're supposed to
it'd be
be-
20 names, instead of
just be-
30, it would be 20. And it just wasn't enough to use, and I went back and I looked at all the correspondence, and Larry laid it out for me and showed me, and he said, okay, then we'll.
so we're
deal
good to
with it.
go with
Yeah.
that? Okay, well, now I know, but they'll just be,
Yeah, along the top and then down the front, and then the next.
and then another monument, and then.
Yeah, and the cost is covering that, I mean, it's
Right,
covering
right.
that in the inscription cost, so.
I explained that to them today, and they thought, you know, give them a little map and show them, you know, the areas where they were looking, you know, to take a look at it. She called me back at 3:30, when she could meet me tomorrow.
Sometime, I'm sorry, sometime, Colin, when you've got nothing else to do, if you haven't already, we want to burn that natural burial cemetery in the spring. I'm just not sure how well that would work out. I mean, with the path that's going through there, and we've got some headstones that we'd have to cover,
Okay,
you know, take a look at it, see
Yeah.
if it's
no problem.
doable or not.
Okay.
Because I don't know what else to do with it, because it's now gotten itself pretty darn thick. It's done a good job of growing.
Yeah,
Well, it's good.
it's healthy.
Yeah. it is.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a look and see if it's doable.
Okay.
I don't know if you could start, because it's kind of in sections.
Okay.
Well, you could start here and burn it that way, or burn it into, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, typically, I mean, almost anything's doable.
Yeah.
But like around the headstones, we've got 2 laying there, there's 3 markers, I think, because, well, those has a little something. Could you clear around that and then burn away from them, or how do you do it? How would you?
Yeah, you would have to either wet down
They're small, I mean,
the
you
area,
probably,
because they're low, right, those
yeah, they're small.
markers in the
Yeah,
actual
they're
burial
flat.
area?
Mhm.
They're flat and small. We've even thought about, just covering them with
What?
like a tin can.
You can make something to put over them, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, you can do that too. Because it's what, prairie grass and stuff?
Prairie grass.
Yeah.
Because it'll burn fast.
Uh-huh.
Because the prairie grass just takes off and, so I mean, the fire would move quickly across anything.
Uh-huh.
Well, the other option is just to wind it down, but then the area around it doesn't get burned, so.
Yeah.
We can
Or-
cover them with something, we can probably come up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Or I
know,
mean, if
because
you-
they're, you know, this is,
They're no bigger than 12 by 18. I mean,
12 by
that's
18,
kind of.
right.
I mean, the thing is, if you just took a weed whacker and went around them,
Mhm.
that's what I wonder, if we could knock it down.
that would
around
probably
the
clear
head.
enough area. I was gonna say you could
That way you
use
can see them.
a Roundup, but I guess that doesn't work in the natural area.
We're trying.
It's gonna be an organic Roundup, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take a look.
There is organic Roundup. Trouble is, it's $280 a gallon.
Oh my. Wow. I hope it works well.
I've tried
There
it.
might be some other chemicals that would work besides Roundup.
Burn off the grass.
There's new things coming out all the time that kind of replace Roundup. But a lot of weeds are getting Roundup resistant, and it doesn't work. So they need different things. But they're specific, specific for different things. You just have to do a little research, study it. Anything else?
Oh, Friday. Oh, I'm gonna trade Friday for Veterans Day, for Veterans Day. So I won't be here Friday.
Mm-hmm.
We usually do that every year.
Mm-hmm.
Want to do it again?
Yeah, I knew you, I couldn't remember which one, because
Well, some of them.
you used to trade Columbus Day, or I don't remember what the
That's
We
what
trade
I'm
Columbus for
thinking,
the day
Township.
after
Yeah.
Thanksgiving, so we won't be here. I mean, Jason and Kevin will be here, but the rest of us will be
Mhm.
sleeping off turkey.
We always use
Columbus.
Veterans Day.
Yeah.
That's the plan, man.
All right.
Okay. Anything else? Now we'll move on to fiscal officers report.
Okey dokey. We have yet another amendment of permanent appropriations. Whereas it is an ongoing process to accurately appropriate funds according to the needs of the township. Now therefore, the trustees authorize an amendment to the following permanent appropriations. In the Road and Bridge Fund, there was an increase for Social Security by $150. In the Cemetery Fund, there was an increase in contracted services by $510. In the Fire Fund, there was an increase in medical hospitalization by $6,000.
Too bad.
Yeah, I think we might have to do it again. Anyway, not that much, but anyway. And then travel and meeting expenses were an increase by
That's
$100.
all your new staff.
We're young and healthy.
There's a lot of you.
I guess it's true.
So that is resolution 2016-21.
So moved.
Second. Any other discussion? Call for a vote.
Mr. Sprackler?
Yes.
Mr. Mutual?
Yes.
I did, I have submitted the bond application renewal for the zoning inspector, which will, expires at the end of the year. So I started that with Otarma. Nice thing about that is that we don't have to pay for bonds through Otarma, which is good. Still no word from our auditors, the state auditors. No word from any, really. So, unless somebody wants to talk about any questions or anything, I don't really have much to report right now. I'm spending money, paying bills.
That's what you're highly skilled and highly paid at.
Right.
It appears as though we've gotten into I'm not gonna say a rut, but a normal cycle of, like with the cemetery, this is where I'm going, the cost of it. It appears as though it's gonna cost us about what we thought, about $20,000 a year to operate Glen Forest Consolidated Cemetery. So I guess that's good news is it's not been a whole lot more, and it's bad news it's not a whole lot less, because we're not taking nearly that amount in, but it's not a terrible deficit that we're running at. That number, I'm
Right.
not really confident that it shows what, about 18,000 in income?
Well, yes. No, wait, no. And, no, it's generated, almost 22,000.
On its own? I mean, we
So
didn't
that's what it's on the revenue status report says.
We didn't transfer anything in.
We've sold, 11,000 in, cemetery lots and 10,000,
Well, then it's better than,
Aerials and stuff.
it's better than I thought
Yeah.
then.
So it runs in spurts. I mean, sometimes we're
open and
We're more
closings
active and
is
sometimes we have
10,000.
Mhm.
dead zone.
So it's close to even then. So that's good.
Lack of a better word.
Yeah, it works.
So I just thought I'd throw that in.
Anything else?
I have nothing.
We'll move on to correspondence. No, I'm on the wrong page. We don't want to go over that again.
Nah.
Standing committees, last. Standing committees, do you have any reports?
Yeah, well, yes and no. MVRPC did not meet in November, so I don't have a report on that. Regional planning has met a couple of times. And the most recent is a budget meeting that we have planned for tomorrow. We initially did work on that. The actual meeting is going to be canceled for tomorrow night, but the board meeting, but the executive directive meeting met last Tuesday and work on budget numbers. And the nice thing about the regional planning is they've gotten themselves up on their feet financially, so now they're starting to take on additional responsibilities and contracted work, which is nice, but it makes it a little more complicated because then the more you take on, the more you have to get new personnel to work on the projects, and so those have to be paid. And so you gotta make sure that you're taking in enough money with the contracts to cover the cost of the personnel that it's usually done in either interns or very specific skills that somebody has. And the one that we used this year was a GIS specialist that we had on part-time to bring things up that hadn't been attended to in quite a few years, which is done. And so whether to keep that person on board next year and add an intern for some of the contracted work, that's what we have to work on. So we have a special meeting to do that tomorrow. Well, that's the only other one, except the mill seems fine, plugging along.
Okay. Cemetery, talked to the surveyor, he said to go ahead and put the road in. We should probably put the road in first before we survey. And then he'll survey away from the road. So we're gonna have a cemetery meeting shortly. And be sure that everybody's on board for sharing the cost of that.
So that means we're gonna basically be doing part of his, what he's going to get paid to do.
Pardon?
We're gonna be doing some of the work that he'll be getting paid to do by laying the road out, the heads on it.
Wouldn't a surveyor normally?
I would
lay the
thought he
road
would
out?
have laid it out, and then I could put my road in. I mean, if I'm gonna have to lay it out, then I can't just lay it on the damn thing, it's our thing.
Wow. Yeah, that
I mean,
seems weird.
we can lay it out. I kinda wondered what we're paying him for. Does he have to record this stuff? Or?
Well, cemetery lots are not recorded, no, but
But the boundaries are recorded.
the boundaries
So what we're laying out,
where they are, so you can make a deed.
well, yeah, we lay them out in lots and
Gotta
in
have
the corners of the lots, and then we number them and know what, section E or whatever it's gonna be called. If the lots would have numbers, right? I mean, like we do now, section D, lot 294, we sell graves 3, 4, 2.2, 3, or 4. It'll still be the same thing, but he has to lay out where the pins go, is that what he's doing?
Well, they'll put the road where you want it, and you know, you gotta deal with that curve.
Right, that's why I was,
And,
once they're pinned out, then I can say, okay, here's this, and I can work and know that I'm not gonna lose a whole bunch.
well, there's, really not much you can do about a curve. I mean,
Well, no, I don't need a radius, but I know about how we can
you,
maximize without losing a whole bunch. You know, we're gonna lose.
that'll be your job to measure that off, so you don't lose anything.
Okay, then when I lay the road out, I'll know there'll be this many lots up to that road, and then this many on, so that he can do his thing.
Yeah, the road,
That's all
the
right.
road should be 2/3 of the way from the other road to the fence.
Right.
That way, you can carry caskets, be the same distance no matter which road.
Yeah, I'm gonna kinda center it basically, so that,
And just, you can't put these, lots, right against the fence or against the road.
well, no, I have to leave a little room.
Uh,
But that'll be a measurement, you know, if I go out and I find out I've only got 7 foot to the fence, I'm not gonna put any more grade, I'm gonna leave it where it would stop at that point, for my purposes.
You,
We don't want a headstone up against the fence where we mow, you know, we have. I know how I would lay that, you know, I was just curious, and he wants the road laid first, and we'll do it. Just have to do some measurements.
it's possible that, anybody that wants to use that grade along the fence would have to put their stone down flat. Make it a condition of the sale. Don't know who'd want to be along the fence, but you know, might make it cheaper. I don't know, that's just a thought.
We'll see where we fall, get it laid out.
You know how wide the graves are,
Mhm,
and you know how wide the road needs to be,
mhm.
so just go from the fence. Like you say, if you leave, whatever, 7 feet, that's quite a bit.
Well, that was just a number, I mean, that's like a grave, that's like
Yeah,
2
but I mean,
graves. And we mow with 5-foot mowers, so I wanna be able to get through there, so at least
someday you may get a 6-foot more.
maybe,
You're not gonna lay that road out to be nearly as wide as the ones at
9 foot.
Glen Forest.
No, same as what's in Clifton, 9 foot.
Okay.
And the lots are 18 wide, 14 long, so 18 wide, that leaves us, you know, 1.5 foot on each side, basically a grave, like a lot and a grave along the road. And that would be okay, because you're not crowding it, you can get around the fence now, because of the road. But if the fence, come up, you got headstone, you're jammed. So, and I can see the point of putting flush mount in there if that's what comes to it, want to maximize, you know, our area to get as much out of it as possible. I kinda had an idea on the curves, if it eats up 2/3 of a grave, we could designate that as ashes. You'd still have room for headstone, and could do a couple ashes to maybe utilize some of your lost.
Couldn't, the graves along the fence, couldn't turn them the other way.
Probably could.
Then you wouldn't have, you wouldn't waste any place. And the headstones would be, what's it,
Closer
8
to the
feet.
fence.
I mean, you could sell a grave right up to the fence and the headstone would be 8 feet away. It's, that's just a thought, I don't know.
I'll measure and we'll see what we can do.
You know, there's the last one.
Yeah,
Turn the
you're
other
already
way.
turned them, running north and south instead of east and west.
I guess it's possible you could do all of them on the north side of the road that way. For something about,
Okay.
take care of that problem.
Okay. Let's see what I come up with. I'll come up with something.
You know, you understand how much room you need for a lawnmower
Mm-hmm.
more than most surveyors.
Yeah, right.
Okay, anything else? New business,
I have none.
old business.
Kind of threw mine in there earlier, so.
I'll move we adjourn.
I'll second.
We are adjourned.
Cameraman?
Turn it off.